What if I told you that the one thing standing between you and everything you've ever dreamed of is fear? That's right, fear is the invisible force that has held you back for far too long. But here's the truth, you have the power to face it, to conquer it, and to transform it into your greatest ally. By the end of this, your mindset will never be the same. You will see fear not as a barrier, but as a springboard to your greatest success. Fear is just a feeling, not a fact. Fear is a feeling, a powerful, overwhelming feeling that can take over your body and mind in an instant. It can make your heart race, your palms sweat, and your stomach drop. It's primal, it's natural, and it's something we all experience. But here's the truth that most people overlook. Fear is not a fact, it's a feeling. And it's a feeling that you can control. Most people make the mistake of believing that fear represents an actual objective threat. They think that because they feel afraid, there's a real danger ahead. But fear doesn't work that way. The reality is, fear is often based on imagined outcomes, not actual ones. It's the mind's reaction to the unknown, to uncertainty, or to the idea of failure. We feel it when we're about to take a leap, whether it's starting a new project, asking for a promotion, or putting ourselves out there in a relationship. And while that feeling of fear is real, the threat is usually not. Fear makes us perceive danger where there is none. Let me give you an example. Think about the first time you had to give a presentation. Your palms were sweating, your heart was pounding, and you felt a deep sense of dread. In that moment, your brain told you, this is dangerous, you might mess up, people will judge you, but what was really happening, you were speaking in front of a group of people, something that, although uncomfortable, didn't actually pose any real physical danger. The fear was a reaction to the idea of failure, not the reality of it. The fear wasn't based on facts, it was a feeling based on an imagined worst case scenario. This is where the power lies. You can choose how to react to that feeling. The key is to recognize that the fear you're experiencing is not necessarily the truth. It's not a reflection of your abilities, your worth, or your future. It's simply a feeling. And once you understand that, you can start to separate the feeling from the fact. Think about it. How many times has fear held you back from doing something you were fully capable? Maybe you wanted to take a new job, but you were afraid of the unknown. Or maybe you wanted to start a business, but you feared failure. But what would have happened if you'd taken action despite that fear? What would have happened if you'd recognized that the fear was just a feeling and not a fact? Take someone like Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin. He didn't get to where he is by avoiding fear. He got to where he is by feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Branson has faced countless challenges, from failed business ventures to intense criticism, but he never let fear stop him. He knew that fear was just part of the journey, a signal that he was stepping outside his comfort zone, and that was where growth happened. Branson didn't allow fear to define him. He chose to act in spite of it, and that's what propelled him to the success he enjoys today. This is a lesson for all of us. When you feel fear, don't let it paralyze you. Don't let it dictate your decisions. Instead, ask yourself, is this fear based on reality, or is it just my mind's way of trying to keep me safe from discomfort? Fear often tells us we're facing something dangerous, but in most cases, it's simply telling us we're on the brink of something new, something unknown, something that could help us grow. And here's the most important truth. Every time you act in spite of fear, you build your confidence. You teach yourself that you can handle the discomfort. You train your brain to recognize that fear is not a threat. It's a signal that you're growing. The more you face fear, the less control it has over you. So the next time fear shows up, remember this. Fear is just a feeling, not a fact. It's your body's natural reaction to uncertainty, to the unknown. But it doesn't determine your fate. You do. Recognize it, confront it, and then keep moving forward, because on the other side of fear is where your greatest potential lies, and you can only reach it by refusing to let fear dictate your life. Fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal to go. When fear shows up, most people automatically assume it's a sign to stop. We feel that pit in our stomach, the nervousness, the hesitation, and we take it as a signal that something is wrong, that we're not meant to move forward. But let me tell you something, fear is not a sign to stop. It's a signal to go. It's a sign that you're on the verge of something important. It's the universe's way of telling you that you're about to push past your comfort zone and into the next level of your life. Think about it. How often have you felt fear before something great? Think about the last time you faced a challenge that excited you but also made you nervous. Maybe it was starting a new job, speaking in public, or making a big decision. What did you do? Did you retreat or did you push forward? Now, let's look at a real-life example. Think about the story of Elon Musk. The man is known for revolutionizing multiple industries, from electric cars to space travel. But do you think it was easy for him? In fact, Musk faced incredible fear when he first launched SpaceX. Everyone doubted him, including some of the world's most powerful investors and industry experts. He was pouring his own money into the company, and the odds of failure were high. In fact, the first 3 launches of SpaceX were total failures. But instead of letting fear dictate his decisions, Musk used it as a signal to push harder. He said, I could either let fear stop me or I could use it as fuel to keep going. Musk didn't stop when the fear showed up, he leaned into it. Each failure gave him more insight, more determination, and more belief in his vision. And eventually, SpaceX succeeded, transforming the entire space industry. What did fear do for him? It didn't hold him back. It motivated him to keep going, to stay committed to his goal. And that's the lesson here. Fear is not an enemy, it's a compass. It's a guide telling you that you're moving in the right direction, even if that direction feels uncertain. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt fear before achieving something great? You see, fear is a natural response when you're about to take a leap. If you're standing on the edge of something big, something unknown, your mind will try to protect you. It's telling you to be cautious, to retreat, to stay safe. But the problem is that safety is where dreams go to die. You will never achieve anything significant if you only do what's comfortable, what's familiar. Growth happens when you push past that fear, when you say, I see you, fear, and I'm going anyway. This is where the power lies. Fear is not an indication that you should stop. It's the very thing that signals you should go. It's proof that you're about to stretch beyond your limits, to enter uncharted territory where the magic happens. And the truth is, every great success story is filled with moments of fear. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of fear, it's what they do with it. Do they let it stop them? Or do they use it as a catalyst to propel them forward? Look at Michael Jordan. Even though he's considered the greatest basketball player of all time, he was cut from his high school basketball team. He could have let that rejection, that fear of failure, define his career. Instead, he used it as fuel. He worked harder, trained longer, and proved the world wrong. Each time fear tried to tell him he wasn't good enough, he ignored it and kept pushing forward. Now think about your life. What is fear trying to tell you right now? What is it keeping you from doing? Is there a dream you've been too scared to pursue? A decision you've been too hesitant to make? I want you to understand this right now. Fear is simply a sign that you are on the edge of greatness. It's the feeling that comes when you're about to stretch yourself in ways you've never done before. It's the discomfort before growth. The next time fear shows up in your life, don't run from it. Run toward it. Use it as a signal to take action. Recognize that's telling you that you're stepping into a space where your growth lies. Fear is not a sign to stop, it's a signal to go. And if you lean into it, embrace it, and take that step forward, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Fear isn't a barrier, it's a stepping stone. So, the next time you face fear, go anyway. Because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. The only way out is through you. You've heard it before, you can't avoid pain, struggle, or challenges. They're a part of life, and let me tell you this, it's the truth. The only way out is through. When you face adversity, it's natural to want to escape, to avoid the discomfort, to take the easy path. But here's the thing, the road to your breakthrough, to your success, to your personal transformation is paved with struggle. The only way to move past the pain, the fear, and the obstacles that stand in your way is to walk directly through them. Think about it. When you're going through a tough time, your instinct is often to run, to hide, or to give up. You might tell yourself, this is too hard, I can't keep going, it's easier to walk away than to face this. But what you don't realize in those moments is that avoiding the struggle only strengthens it. The more you run from discomfort, the more it controls you. It becomes a barrier that stops you from growing, from evolving, from becoming the person you were meant to be. Let's take the story of someone like Oprah Winfrey. Her journey was anything but easy. She was born into poverty, faced abuse, and was told she would never make it in television. In fact, she was fired from her first job as a TV reporter because she was too emotionally involved. Imagine what would have happened if Oprah had allowed those setbacks, those struggles, and that pain to define her. What if she had decided, this is too hard, I'll never make it, I'll walk away? But instead, she did the exact opposite. She faced each obstacle head on, and the more she went through, the stronger she became. Oprah didn't avoid her challenges. She walked through them, and that's why she stands as one of the most successful women in the world today. The reason the only way out is through is simple. Growth doesn't happen when you're in your comfort zone. It happens when you push yourself beyond what you think is possible. When you face your fears, when you encounter obstacles and rise above them, that's when transformation happens. Think about a seed in the ground. It's dark, it's tight, and it has to break through the soil to reach the light. It's the struggle, the force of pushing through the earth that enables the seed to grow. Without the resistance, there's no growth. Now think about your own life. What struggles are you facing right now? Maybe it's a relationship that's falling apart. Maybe it's a business venture that feels like it's on the brink of failure. Or maybe it's personal fear and doubt that you're battling every day. The temptation is to quit, to walk away, to avoid the discomfort. But when you do that, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your goals. Look at Thomas Edison. The man failed countless times before he invented the light bulb. His laboratory caught fire. His ideas were ridiculed and he faced rejection after rejection. But Edison didn't walk away from his failures. He walked through them. Each failure was a lesson, and each lesson brought him closer to the breakthrough he was looking for. He could have stopped, but instead he said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And in the end, it was his ability to push through failure that led to one of the greatest inventions in history. This principle applies to every single one of us. The challenges, the discomforts, the fears that you're facing right now, they're the key to your breakthrough. If you walk through them instead of running from them, you will come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next chapter of your life. I want you to remember this. You are stronger than you think. Every time you feel like quitting, every time the path feels too difficult, remind yourself that the only way out is through. That struggle you're facing right now isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. Embrace it, walk through it with determination and focus, knowing that on the other side is the person you've always been capable of becoming. You've got this, and the world is waiting for you to break through. Fear and growth go hand in hand. If you're not feeling a bit of fear, you're not growing. That's the hard truth. Fear and growth are intertwined, they go hand in hand, and it's the fear that arises when you step outside your comfort zone that signals you're on the brink of something transformative. Fear isn't something to avoid or suppress, it's a signpost, a signal that you're stretching beyond what's comfortable, beyond what's familiar. Fear is the precursor to growth. Think about the first time you learned something new, riding a bike, learning to swim, public speaking, starting a business. Remember that fear? The moment you were about to take that first step, whether it was riding without training wheels or diving into the deep end, that feeling wasn't just nerves, it was fear. It felt overwhelming. It felt like it was too much to handle. But here's the truth. You didn't let it stop you. You moved through the fear, you took the leap, and you grew because of it. Now let's bring this to real life. Think about the moment before you made a major change, whether it was a new job, starting a new relationship, or pursuing a dream you've had for years. That fear you felt was real, but it wasn't an obstacle. It was the universe telling you, this is where growth happens. Every time you move past that fear, you open up a new chapter in your life, and it's in that chapter where your potential unfolds. Let's talk about a powerful example from the world of sports. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. He was rejected, and that rejection could have crushed him. But Jordan didn't let the fear of failure define him. Instead, he used it as fuel to propel himself forward. He embraced the fear of not being good enough and turned it into a relentless drive. That's what made him great, his willingness to face fear and use it as a tool for growth. Fear doesn't just show up in the big moments either. It's there every day when you push yourself to do something new, something you've never done before. Every time you make a decision that stretches your limits, fear will show up, telling you to back down, telling you to play it safe. But what you have to understand is that staying in your comfort zone is the death of growth. It's easy to stay where things are predictable, safe, and familiar, but nothing great comes from comfort. All progress happens when you face that fear, when you lean into it, when you walk straight into it and choose to keep going anyway. Here's where it gets powerful. Fear is not something to overcome in the traditional sense. It's not something you battle and defeat. Fear is an emotion, and emotions are signals. Instead of seeing fear as a roadblock, see it as a sign that you're doing something right. It means you're pushing beyond the limits of who you've been and stepping into who you're meant to become. Fear is the price of progress. Let me share a story from my own life. A few years ago, I was given the opportunity to speak in front of a crowd of 10,000 people. The moment I got the invitation, I was filled with fear. I thought, what if I fail? What if they don't like what I have to say? What if I mess up? But instead of allowing that fear to stop me, I decided to use it as motivation. I prepped harder than I'd ever prepped before. I focused on the message I wanted to deliver. And when I took that stage, I wasn't just fighting the fear, I was embracing it, leaning into it. And as soon as I took that first step forward, that fear transformed into pure energy that propelled me through the entire experience. And that's the power of fear. When you face it, when you use it as fuel, you move closer to your true potential. You don't let fear make the decisions for you. You make the decisions despite the fear, and that is when real growth happens. So the next time fear shows up in your life, and it will, don't back down. Don't retreat into comfort. Use that fear as a sign that you're on the verge of something great. Fear and growth go hand in hand, and every time you face that fear and move through it, you become a stronger, more capable version of yourself. And that's where the magic happens. Take fear and turn it into focus. Fear is a powerful force, and for many people, it's a force that paralyzes them, stops them in their tracks, and prevents them from reaching their full potential. But let me ask you this. What if you could take that fear, that anxiety, that nervous energy, and turn it into something positive? What if fear wasn't a barrier, but a tool? Fear can either control you, or you can control it. And the secret to unlocking your greatest potential is learning how to take fear and turn it into focus. Imagine you're about to do something big, something that's going to push you to your limits. Maybe it's a big presentation, a life-changing decision, or a challenge that scares the living daylights out of you. What happens? You feel that surge of adrenaline, your heart races, your palms sweat, and suddenly you're overwhelmed. The fear takes over and your mind starts running wild with doubt and worry. But what if, instead of letting fear control you, you could channel that energy into something powerful? This is where focus comes in. When you're feeling fearful, you're often in a heightened state of awareness. Your body is primed to act. The key is to focus that energy. Fear is simply a reaction to the unknown, to something that feels risky, uncertain, or threatening. But if you take that energy, that heightened sense of alertness, and direct it toward your goal, you'll find that fear doesn't have to stop you. It can help you perform at your peak. Think about athletes. Take someone like Usain Bolt, the world's fastest sprinter. For every race, you can bet he feels the pressure, the nerves, the fear of failure, but instead of letting that fear paralyze him, he uses it to sharpen his focus. He doesn't think about the crowd or the pressure to win. He focuses entirely on his body, his form, and the race ahead. That intense focus, fueled by the fear of failure, propels him to perform at the highest level. The same principle applies to all of us. Whether you're stepping into a new career, launching a business, or facing a personal challenge, you will experience fear. But instead of running from it, embrace it. Use that fear as a signal that you're about to do something important, something worth doing. Then channel that energy into the task at hand. Focus on the task. Focus on the process. Don't allow your mind to spiral into negative thoughts about the outcome. Instead, keep your attention on what you can control right now. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was preparing for a major public speaking event. I'd done speaking engagements before, but this was different. The stakes were higher. The audience was larger. The fear was real. In that moment, my body was telling me to back off, to avoid the risk, to stay comfortable. But I realized something important. The fear I was feeling wasn't a sign to quit. It was a signal to focus, to double down on my preparation, to center myself in the moment, and to give my absolute best performance. Instead of allowing the fear to take over, I took a deep breath and focused on the audience. I focused on the message I wanted to deliver. I focused on the impact I wanted to make. And when I stepped on stage, the fear that I had felt transformed into laser sharp focus. It gave me the clarity and energy to connect with the audience and deliver a powerful presentation. I wasn't overwhelmed by the fear. I used it to fuel my performance. This is the power of focus. It's not about eliminating fear. It's about transforming it. When fear shows up, don't run from it. Don't shy away from it. Take that energy and focus it. Use it to direct your attention toward what matters most. Fear can be the fuel that propels you to take the action you need, but only if you channel it correctly. The next time you feel that familiar rush of fear, remember this: fear is just energy, it's a signal, and instead of letting it control you, turn it into focus. Focus on your breath, focus on your next step, focus on the vision of where you want to go. When you do this, fear becomes not a barrier but a tool that drives you forward, pushing you closer to your dreams. Fear is inevitable, but with the right focus, it doesn't have to be something that holds you back. It becomes the energy that helps you rise higher than you ever thought possible. So take a deep breath, embrace the fear, and let it sharpen your focus. Because when you focus on what truly matters, there's nothing that can stop you. Failure isn't final, it's just feedback. Failure is often seen as the end of the road. It's something we fear, something we try to avoid, and something that can feel like a devastating blow when it happens. But what if I told you that failure isn't final? It's simply feedback. The truth is, every failure holds a valuable lesson. It's not a reflection of your abilities or potential. It's a moment in time that tells you what didn't work so you can adjust and keep moving forward. When you understand this, failure no longer becomes something to fear. It becomes a stepping stone on the path to success. Think about the countless examples of individuals who faced immense failure but didn't let it define them. Look at someone like Walt Disney. He was fired from a newspaper job for not being creative enough and faced rejection after rejection for his ideas. He was told that his vision of a theme park would never work, that it was too ambitious, too unrealistic. But he didn't see those failures as the end. He saw them as feedback, telling him that he needed to tweak his approach, refine his vision, and keep pushing forward. Today, Disney is one of the most influential companies in the world, and that success was built on countless moments of failure and feedback. This is the mindset shift that we need to embrace. When you fail, you're not being punished, you're being given the opportunity to learn. Failure provides you with the clarity you need to make adjustments and improve. It's feedback telling you that something needs to change, whether it's your approach, your strategy, or your mindset. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's an essential part of growth. Think about it. We don't learn when everything goes perfectly. We don't grow when things are easy. Growth happens in the trenches, in the moments where we struggle, where we make mistakes, where we fall down and get back up. That's where the real lessons are learned. When you embrace failure as feedback, it becomes something incredibly empowering. It gives you the insight to pivot, to grow stronger, to get better. Consider Michael Jordan, who is widely regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time. Early in his career, he was cut from his high school basketball team. If he had taken that failure as the end, if he had let it define him, he wouldn't have gone on to become a 6-time NBA champion. Instead, he used that moment of rejection as feedback. He didn't give up, he didn't stop. He used it to drive himself harder, to work on his skills, to come back stronger. His failures didn't defeat him, they pushed him to be better. We all experience failure, it's part of being human, but the question is, how do you respond to it? Do you let it stop you, or do you use it as fuel to keep going? The moment you understand that failure isn't final, but simply a part of the journey, you unlock the power to achieve anything. You no longer fear failure because you realize it's not a permanent setback. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. The next time you face a failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Don't let failure define you, let it refine you. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that you're growing. Embrace the feedback, make the adjustments, and keep going. Failure is not the end. It's just a moment in your journey. And every failure brings you one step closer to the success you're meant to achieve. So keep moving forward, keep learning from your failures, and remember, failure isn't final, it's just feedback. Trust your instincts. They're often right. How many times in your life have you been faced with a decision, big or small, and deep down you knew the right answer? You felt that gut feeling, that little voice inside telling you exactly what to do, but how often have you ignored it, second-guessed yourself, and listened to logic or other people's opinions instead? It happens to all of us, but here's the truth. Your instincts are often right. They are the product of years of experience, subconscious processing, and deep internal wisdom. When you trust them, you tap into a power that can guide you through life with clarity and confidence. Instincts aren't some magical abstract concept. They are the culmination of everything you've learned, seen, and experienced. Your brain is constantly processing information, often at a level you're not even aware of. These mental patterns form your instincts, and when you listen to them, you're listening to the intelligence your body and mind have accumulated over a lifetime. It's like having a personal compass that's always pointing you in the right direction, even when logic and reason might lead you astray. Think about the times when your instincts led you in the right direction. Maybe it was the decision to take a risk in your career that seemed illogical at the time but paid off massively. Maybe it was choosing the right partner or making a big move that changed the course of your life. Your instincts knew it was the right choice even when your mind wasn't fully convinced. This is not a coincidence, it's the power of your inner guidance system. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He was constantly guided by his instincts, even when others doubted him. When he started Apple, he didn't have all the answers. The industry wasn't ready for personal computers in the way Jobs envisioned them. Yet he trusted his gut. He was guided by a vision of what technology could be. And even when the market wasn't there yet, when the product didn't seem to make sense to others, Jobs trusted his instincts and pushed forward. That trust in his instincts led to one of the most revolutionary companies in history. Jobs wasn't afraid to trust his gut, and that made all the difference. Now, let's bring this to your own life. Have you ever felt that nagging feeling, that instinct telling you to act or avoid something? Maybe it was a career decision that felt right, even though the risks seemed high. Maybe it was a moment when you had to decide whether to stay in a relationship or walk away, or had to describe what you wanted to do, or to iterate your work based on your instinct and whether to follow an instinct. Or in those moments, your instincts were there for a reason. They weren't guiding you based on emotion or fear. They were telling you what was best for you, even if you didn't fully understand why at the time. So why do we doubt our instincts? It's easy to get caught up in the noise, the advice from others, the opinions of friends and family, or the fear of making the wrong choice. But here's the reality. Those external voices can drown out the most important voice you need to listen to, the voice inside you. Trusting your instincts means having the courage to silence the noise and follow the wisdom that's already within you. It's about having confidence in your own judgment and knowing that your past experiences, your values, and your intuition have prepared you for these moments. The key is to quiet your mind and tune into your inner guidance. The more you practice listening to your instincts, the more you'll start to notice how often they're right. The more you trust them, the clearer they become. And the more you listen, the stronger your connection to your own inner wisdom grows. Next time you face a decision, whether it's big or small, take a moment to check in with yourself. What does your gut tell you? What does your instinct say? Trust that feeling. Trust your inner wisdom. Because the truth is, your instincts are a powerful tool that can guide you to success, fulfillment, and happiness. They've been with you all along, guiding you toward the life you're meant to live. So listen to them, trust them. They're often right, and they'll never steer you wrong if you're willing to listen. Every step you take diminishes fear. Fear can feel like an overwhelming force, a shadow that looms over every decision you make. It whispers that you're not ready, that you'll fail, that you should stay safe. But here's the powerful truth. Every step you take diminishes fear. Fear thrives on inaction. It gets stronger when you hesitate, when you stand still, when you avoid confronting it. But when you move, when you take action, no matter how small, that fear loses its power. Think about the first time you did something that scared you. Maybe it was public speaking, starting a new job, or having a difficult conversation. The fear you felt in that moment was intense. It was paralyzing, wasn't it? But then you took the first step. Maybe it was speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it was taking that first breath before speaking in front of an audience. And with each step you took, that fear started to shrink. The more you moved forward, the smaller that fear became. What you realized in that moment was that fear isn't something to run from. It's something to face head on. And every step you take toward it weakens its hold on you. Let's talk about something real here. Fear doesn't go away on its own. It doesn't magically vanish because you thought about it or hoped it would go away. In fact, the more you try to avoid fear, the more it grows. It festers in the background, and the longer you allow it to control you, the bigger it gets. But here's the magic. When you take action, when you do the thing that scares you, the fear starts to dissipate. Fear loses its grip on you with each step you take. Look at someone like Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison for fighting against apartheid in South Africa. Every day he faced unimaginable fear, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of not making it through, the fear of failure. But instead of letting fear control him, he took step after step toward freedom, toward justice, toward equality. Every day he faced his fear, and with each step, the power that fear had over him diminished. It wasn't easy, it wasn't fast, but the more he moved forward, the less fear could hold him back. And we all know what happened. Mandela became a global symbol of resilience and change. Every step he took broke the chains of fear that tried to hold him. Now let's bring this back to you. What is it that you've been avoiding because of fear? Maybe you've been wanting to start a new project, but fear of failure has kept you stuck. Maybe you've been wanting to change your career, but fear of the unknown has paralyzed you. Or maybe you've been wanting to speak your truth, but fear of judgment has kept you silent. Whatever it is, you're allowing fear to hold you back from stepping into the life you were meant to live. But the truth is, the only way through fear is through action. Fear is just a feeling, a product of the mind trying to protect you. It's your mind's way of saying, this is unfamiliar, this is risky. But the more you take action, the more you prove to your mind that there's nothing to fear. Each step forward is a challenge to the belief that fear is controlling you. And the more you challenge that belief, the less power fear has. Think of a time in your life when you took a bold step forward in the face of fear. Maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe things didn't go exactly as planned. But I guarantee that after you took that step, fear didn't seem as big. It didn't feel as daunting. You became more confident, more capable, and more willing to take the next step. And every subsequent step you took built your courage, diminished the fear, and made you more unstoppable. The truth is, fear will always be a part of life, but it doesn't have to rule your decisions. It doesn't have to dictate your actions. Every step you take diminishes fear. The more you move toward what scares you, the smaller that fear becomes, until one day, it's no longer something you fear. It's something you've conquered. And once you conquer fear, nothing can stand in your way. So take that step today. Whatever it is that's scaring you, move toward it, walk into it, and with every step, watch how your fear loses its grip on you. The only way to diminish fear is to keep moving, keep taking action, keep moving forward. And you'll find that fear has no choice but to shrink as you grow.